When is blood pressure too high? If your blood pressure is consistently 130/80 and above, you have hypertension. Your numbers naturally rise and fall depending on what you're doing and how stressed you are throughout the day. You should check them several times before you get a diagnosis. The top systolic number is the force in the arteries when the heart beats. The bottom, diastolic one, is the pressure between beats when the heart rests. If either number is higher than normal, it means your heart is pumping harder than it should. Studies show that over time, that makes you more likely to have a stroke. How does high blood pressure cause a stroke? Hypertension puts your arteries under constant stress. As with a tire that's been overinflated, too much force inside your blood vessels damages the artery walls and makes them weaker. There are two main types of strokes, and high blood pressure makes both more likely. Strokes caused by blocked blood flow. In almost 9 out of 10 cases, you have a stroke because something, usually a clot, blocks the flow of blood to the brain. Doctors call this an ischemic stroke. Without oxygen, brain cells start dying within minutes. Usually a clot forms either at the site of a clogged blood vessel or somewhere else in the body and then reaches the brain. A traveling clot usually means you have an underlying issue, often an irregular heartbeat called atrial fibrillation. The clots happen more often with high blood pressure because it speeds up atherosclerosis, a condition that makes your arteries get harder, narrower, and clogged with fatty plaque. Hypertension also makes you more likely to have atrial fibrillation. It causes blood to collect in the heart where a clot can form. AFib is very dangerous because it raises your chances of stroke 5-fold, but there are treatments for it. Strokes caused by bleeding in or around the brain. These are hemorrhagic strokes. They tend to be more serious and deadlier than clot-based ones. A weak blood vessel breaks open, usually because of an aneurysm, spot that has ballooned up from pressure. High blood pressure damages arteries and makes them more likely to tear or burst. Hypertension can also cause clots that lead to temporary mini-strokes. Transient ischemic attack, or TIA, is when a clot dissolves or gets dislodged on its own. Most people fully recover from TIAs, but they are a warning that a full-blown stroke may be coming. Hypertension makes a TIA more likely the same way it does for an ischemic stroke by narrowing the arteries and making it more likely for plaque and blood clots to form. Stroke and high blood pressure. Stroke is a leading cause of death and severe long-term disability. Most people who have had a first stroke also had high blood pressure. High blood pressure damages arteries throughout the body. It creates conditions that can make arteries burst or clog easily. Weakened or blocked arteries in the brain create a much higher risk for stroke. This is why managing high blood pressure is critical to reducing your risk for stroke. What happens when you have a stroke? A stroke happens when a blood vessel to the brain is narrowed or blocked by a clot, an ischemic stroke, or bursts, a hemorrhagic stroke. When that happens, part of the brain is no longer getting the blood and oxygen it needs. That part of the brain starts to die. Your brain controls your movement and thoughts. A stroke threatens your ability to think, move, and function. Strokes can also affect language, memory, and vision. Severe strokes may even cause paralysis or death. What you can do. If you get your blood pressure under control, you can cut your chance of having a stroke by almost half. Talk to your doctor about whether medication would help. You can also aim to eat less salt, sugar, and saturated fats, mainly from meat and poultry. Avoid artificial trans fats, often found in processed foods that have hydrogenated ingredients. Eat more fiber, fruits, and leafy green vegetables. Get to a healthy weight. A big belly compared with your hip size is one sign of too much fat on your body. Stop smoking. If you already smoke, quitting will help lower your odds of stroke. Limit alcohol. Drinking too much can raise your blood pressure. Exercise regularly. Aim for 30 minutes of aerobic activity, such as brisk walks 5 times a week. Lower your stress. Studies show that constant stress makes you more likely to have a stroke or a TIA.